Okay, I got my burner built. I guess first things first here. I should, let me plug all this in. All right, first things first, it's cold in the shop. I'll go ahead and turn the heater on so I can start to get my oil heated up. Oil's 37 degrees. Now, I made a video on this heater already. Oh, that thing's stuck down. So you should be able to find this video and watch it on how I assembled all this heater. Now, I made a few changes. I added the oil fill at the top because it didn't want to come in fast enough, and this solenoid was cycling a lot. And I added this vent pipe here so I could get air. So when I shut this valve off at night to shut the stove down, all the oil would run out of here. And then I go ahead and shut the thermostat off. Because if you show up and there's a whole bunch of cold oil in here, it don't flow very good. I used a hot water heater vent fan, come off the top of an old hot water heater, to blow in air into my burner. I got my sight glass here. I made it movable, so if I lift it up, I can lift it up out of the way and then rotate my burner down. Rotate this whole thing over like this. So if I want to burn wood, which I don't know why I would, but if I did ever want to burn wood, you can see that the burner is out of the way. Okay. So I can burn wood if I want to, but today I don't want to burn wood. I want to burn oil. So I rotate this back up, get this back down on here, so my drip will go right into my stove. And yeah, we'll let this oil heat up. And it looks like it's up to 79 degrees already, 80, and climbing. So I guess by the time being here, let's look at my burner. Okay, now I got my burner pipe that I put in here, and I had to add that good fan. Oh man, I already got it put back down. Here, let me rotate that up real quick, and I'll show you what I got going on. Got ahead of myself. Okay, I got that rotated up. Now, you see that the fan I built? I'll put a picture in after I built it, but I tack welded that in there just so it directs the airflow in a swirl as the oil drips down through it, and it works pretty good. Now, I welded a stainless steel stand in my pot here. This just lifts out of there, and it's just a stainless steel setup so I can clean it, and so it kind of protects my pot, and then it just sits right back in there. Let's go ahead and rotate this back down so this thing is set up and ready to go here. All right, now my oil's up to 114, so when it gets to 160, we'll get this thing going. So until then, we'll stop you here. Okay, my oil's up to 143. And as soon as it heated up, it released this lid on this box. There you can see the oil in there's getting good and hot. Now I ordered another thermostat probe that I'm gonna put in the bottom here. So then I can finish this up into a bucket. But if you haven't seen the other video when I made all this and how this all works, I'll put a link into it here at the end of the video or something so you can find it. Because I'm not gonna go over all that today. I'm just gonna get this oil heated up, and I'm gonna show you how I start this thing. All right, our oil is just almost there. 159 degrees, looking for 160. I did add this variable fan control for my blower fan. I just got it off Amazon. It just plugs through it, and that way I could get the right setting for my flame. We'll go ahead and turn this oil on. So when this calls for oil, it can get oil. I added this vent also, so when this closes, it will continue to flow out of here, just so this isn't cycling on and off so fast. So when we get our oil to temperature, which we're pretty close, I'm gonna flip on the oil control. This is gonna open my main valve, and currently I have both of my needle valves closed on my oil into the stove. So I open up the main valve so that can flow. Then the next thing I do here is I get some hot oil out of this plug, and I put it in with my diesel fuel. So we'll run some oil in here. Because I want to get a pretty good fire going to start to heat this stove up. Okay, because when this thing sucks a lot of cold air, that fan, and it really cools that oil line. Okay, so now that we got some hot oil here, we're gonna, with the diesel, we're gonna go ahead and pour it in our burn pot. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's kind of dark. Now, we're gonna get it lit up here. Trying to do all this with one hand is kind of a pain in the neck. Little bit of a fire going, and I'll turn on my fan on the variable, and then this is my slow side of my valve, so I'll get some oil flowing there. Get just a small stream of oil going until this thing gets heated up, because this line's all pretty cold, but it'll go pretty quick. And right now my thermostat is off, so this valve is closed, so I'm not really pouring too much oil to the fire here. Okay, we'll let that heat up, and I'll be back with you in about 5 minutes. All right, this is after about 5 minutes. I turned up my low flow a little higher to get the fire warmed up. Stove temp's a little over 400. And I got a pretty good fire in there right now. just because I'm trying to heat stuff up. So we'll give it another couple minutes here, and I'll tone this back a little bit to a slow drip, or not a drip, but a smaller stream, just to keep the fire going. Go ahead. And then I'll turn on this thermostat up to 70 or so. Turn that on. We'll turn our valve on. Go ahead and open this needle valve. Get my flow going through my electric valve here if it's warmed up enough to move. But of course I drained all the oil out of this, so it's gonna take a little bit for the oil to get there. Ooh, might not. We might have just shut it off. The limit switch here might have tripped. Yeah, it got over 500. Might have just tripped the limit. So we might have to let that cool back down before that limit will reset. That's about how it usually runs. So that will cycle back to 400, turn the limit close, flow oil again. But it's gonna have to cool down before it gets there, so when it gets closer, I'll turn you back on. Okay, our temp's back around 400. The high flow side just turned this valve on. And of course, we had all the oil drained out of there, so it's gonna take a bit to get there. Let me open the valve up further, just to speed this process along. There we go. Okay, now we got 2 streams of oil. And that should rev the fire back up. And it should warm that back up to around 500, 550 and cycle it back off. All right, here our fire's starting to pick up. And hopefully it heats that up to 500 and it'll cycle back off. Okay, we're starting to warm up. Really good fire going. Got water dripping. Gotta fix that. So when that gets 550, 575, it should shut our flow off. Staying right at 160. There, it just limited out and shut the oil flow off. And that's all there is to it. Then when that cools back down, it will cycle back on. Kick that oil back on, and heat the room up until that thermostat stops calling for heat, and then it won't allow that to run anymore. But there it's just on idle, so that's enough oil that'll just keep the stove going. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn this down a little bit, hold some of that heat in here now that we're good and hot. And well, let's go outside and we'll look at the stovepipe, see how much smoke's coming out of there. As you can see, not a lot. It burns real clean. So we're gonna mark that as a success. Thanks for watching.